Hello there and welcome to another video. I'm sorry for not uploading, but I got no time and I won't promise in the future that a new video is coming next week or something like that, because I will obviously disappoint you. But let's start. This video is unscripted and uncut because I'm working on another video, and this other video takes a lot of time, especially since I have no time. So yeah, this video is without cool pictures or something like that. You will only hear some music, my voice, and see this visualizer. And I will probably upload it the day I'm recording it. So yeah, I will talk about Star Wars: The Acolyte, and I will criticize it. But this is my pre-release criticism. So yeah, this is not my final judgment. Obviously, it can't be my final judgment because the final judgment can only happen after the show has released, and please keep that in mind. So I will script and cut a second video when the show, the first season is over, when I watch the show, and please do not refer to this video when bashing the Acolyte. I mean, you can, if you, like me, want to talk about things that might go wrong, you can refer to this video if you don't want to explain it yourself. But please do not make a final judgment and post a link to this video, because this video is not my final judgment. Please keep that in mind. So, oh, it's raining. I was wondering where the noise comes from. Yeah. Now, I won't criticize the wokeness and forced diversity in Star Wars Acolyte, because it's not a killing factor for me. If the story is good, the message is good, I can overlook it. I don't like it, but I can ignore it. And just to be clear, if the Acolyte will be as terrible as I fear, please do not say it's not canon, because I won't either. I hate those people who say, it's not canon. You can say that a show or a movie is against George Lucas' vision. That's something you can do. But George Lucas voluntarily sold Star Wars to Disney, and Star Wars is now in control what's canon and what's not. So if the Acolyte is terrible and ruins the core of Star Wars, then please do not say it's not canon. It will be canon, if we like it or not. We can just say that it goes against George Lucas' vision for Star Wars, and recommend people to not watch it, and explain why. With that out of the way, let's go. My criticism about Star Wars: The Acolyte is how the Force will be portrayed. I have an article here by Inverse.com about the Acolyte, based on an interview showrunner Leslie Headland gave to Total Film, and she stated, I quote, "Honestly, the way I look at it is there's no light without darkness, no good without bad. So to me, and this might just be a personal thing, the Force is about balance. As Yoda says, my ally is the Force. So the idea of a separation from that was really interesting. If you are unbalanced, the Force cannot protect you." End quote. the article goes on explaining that at first it would appear that this contradicts George Lucas' perception of the Force, but then the typical Knights of the Old Republic argument comes up. The author writes, there's a reason the Chosen One prophecy promised someone who would bring balance to the Force, not someone who would eliminate the dark side. It's only when there is no balance that the Force cannot protect you, and you fall to greed and anger. Maybe the Sith just need a little light in them, while the Jedi need a touch of darkness. Yeah. If you have seen my other video about the dichotomy of the Force, the true dichotomy of the Force, you know that's total bullshit. Let me explain why. George Lucas said the Force is in balance when light and dark are in balance. Light and dark are selflessness and selfishness. If you are too selfless, the light is too strong, you will be blinded. You can't see after looking at an extreme bright light for a longer period of time. And when it's too dark, when there's no light at all, you can't see either. And that is a metaphor for wisdom. A fun fact, the word wisdom comes from a old Nordic word, wis. And wis means knowledge, but also light. For example, the word white in German, it's called weiß. And the German word weiß oder weiß comes from wis, which is also connected with Weisheit, wisdom. Weisheit is the German word for wisdom. So light and wisdom are directly connected. And wisdom is usually a understanding of causality, action and consequence. And the problem is to properly analyze causality, you need a almost flawless perception, and too much light or too much darkness limits your perception. And you need to balance these two extremes, light and dark. But that's not what the dark side is. The dark side is not the darkness. It's a bit complicated, and I get why many people believe in balance between the light and the dark side. But the balance between selflessness and selfishness, or day and night, result in wisdom, enlightenment. That's why the balance is the light side. The light side of the Force is entirely the balance of the Force. The dark side is the destabilization of that balance. So, for example, you can cause harm without being responsible, or without being evil. If you are blinded by circumstances, by things beyond your control, then you are still responsible, and there's still a certain guilt, but you are not the main villain. You are not the one with the most guilt. The most guilt will get, or the darkness has the most guilt, or the light, depending on the external circumstance. For example, if you drive in a car and the sun is blinding you and you crash into someone's house and you injure someone, of course you are partially responsible because you drove the car, but depending on how you reacted, your guilt decreases or is almost at zero, because you just can't press a button and the sun is gone and it's dark. You know what I mean? Same thing in the night when you walk in the forest and you see a tree, but at daytime you would recognize it as a tree, but at nighttime you do not recognize the tree as a tree because of your limited perception, and you think it's something dangerous, a shadow, and you panic, run away, and run into someone, and this person falls down on a rock and is injured, critically injured. Then you are still responsible, especially because you panicked. But the difference between this darkness and the dark side is that once you realize what you have done, you apologize. You apologize and you promise to better yourself, to learn from it. So the next time you will see a tree you perceive as a dangerous shadow, you will investigate before running away. Or if you think it's too dangerous to investigate and take a closer look, you will slowly retreat. Because if the shadow suddenly starts moving and attacking you, you can still react. You can still run away or attack the shadow or whatever. You know what I mean? The dark side is different. The dark side, when using the dark side, you blind yourself, essentially. So you do not limit your perception through outside circumstances, or outside circumstances do not limit your perception. It's more like the dark side persuades you to blind yourself. So, for example, if you get blinded by someone else, if someone blinds you with whatever against your will, and you accidentally kill your best friend, then you are still partially responsible, but you haven't blinded yourself, and that's natural darkness. The dark side would be you want something, you have a selfish desire, but your best friend is in the way of that. So let's say you want a girl, you love a girl, you love her, but she is dating your best friend. When someone else blinds you and you kill your best friend, you haven't done it because you want the girl. You have done it because someone else blinded you, and you didn't kill your best friend with the intention, that way I can date her and get him out of the picture. No, it was an accident. an accident forced by circumstances beyond your control. And darkness in your heart is similar. Aggressive emotions or things like that. You can't press a button and your aggression is gone. And of course, when people feel aggression or get this feeling when their loved one is threatened, the first time they will snap. But the thing is, and that's the important thing, they learn from it. They learn that it wasn't the right decision, and next time they'll choose the right decision. They will not make the same mistake again. That's the natural darkness. But the dark side is different. If you look at this example with your best friend who is dating a girl you love, the dark side would be you kill him specifically because you want this girl. You want to date her. That would be the dark side. And essentially you blind yourself. You do not see him as a best friend. Because he's shrouded in darkness. You blinded yourself to the friendship you have with him. Instead of talking with him and explaining the situation and finding a solution, you decided to kill him. That's the dark side. And that's different from natural darkness because it is entirely unnatural. No, because you blinded yourself. You blinded yourself. You weren't blinded by someone else. You blinded yourself. That's the big, big difference. Let's look at an example from Star Wars, Anakin Skywalker. Anakin didn't turn to the dark side because Palpatine disguised the path of the Jedi. Blinded him to the path of the Jedi. Sidious never did this. Sidious did the opposite. Instead of trying to blind Anakin to the Jedi way, he carefully constructed a false second path, the dark path. A path which looked more easy, which was easier, or appeared easier for Anakin. And then he did basically the Roadrunner thing. So he, the correct way was the long way, but Palpatine painted a tunnel on the wall of a rock and walked through it and said, "Anakin, come on! That's the easy path, the short path. Follow me." Anakin said he still saw the way of the Jedi, but he decided for himself. He didn't look close enough. He decided for himself, if he can go through it, I can do it as well. And then, instead of going through like Palpatine did, he had a collision with the walk. And that was the problem. This second path, Palpatine carefully constructed the second path, which was a trap, to get Anakin basically unconscious and control him and manipulate him to become his slave, essentially. You see, that's the difference. Understand? Now, the problem with Hadland's quote is no good without bad, and that the dark side is part of the Force. Now, to be fair, as far as I know, or as I can see, Leslie may stick to Lucas' interpretation of the balance in the Force. But yeah, it's difficult to believe, especially because Disney is obsessed with this balance between the light side and the dark side. Just look at Star Wars Visions Season 2. There was one episode where it was specifically mentioned the balance between the light side and the dark side, which was... I hate this episode for the reasons I just explained. We can't interpret too much into Headland's quote. I think I need to read the whole interview. But many journalists and Star Wars fans, they have taken this quote and interpreted as balance between Jedi and Sith, which is wrong. And why? Now, it is wrong. And the complete destruction of Star Wars lore, not only because it's contrary to Lucas' explanation, but also because it's immoral. This belief that evil is part of the natural life. Darkness, the night, is part of life, but not the dark side. As I explained, these are two different things. And the problem with this belief is that it justifies evil. If you believe that evil is part of life, you can justify murder, for example. Even if there is no reason for murdering this person, you can still say, yep, it's part of the natural balance, he doesn't need to be punished. Because it's necessary that this person committed a murder for the balance. Sounds ridiculous, but this is exactly the core of this philosophy that Headland supposedly believes in, and that many fans believe. But there's another big problem, and that's the problem that this philosophy is very appealing to people, and that's why, until this day, many believe the balance of the Force is balance between the light side and the dark side. Why do they believe this? Even you can prove to them that George Lucas said the dark side is the destabilization of the balance of the Force. They won't believe you, or they will ignore you and say, yeah, well, then George Lucas' vision was wrong. Why do they believe that the balance of the Force, and by extension the balance of life, is balance between good and evil? Because it makes things easier for them. They can justify their own evil deeds, their own dark deeds. Instead of apologizing, they can just say, I betrayed you? Yeah, I betrayed you, but no need for an apology. The evil is part of life. Accept it. You realize where the problem is? And that's a big, big problem. And I hope that I misunderstood Hadland's quote. I hope. Because if Star Wars will end up getting this balance in the Force is balance between the light side and the dark side, then Star Wars, the core of Star Wars, is dead. And Star Wars has turned into something immoral that justifies evil. Just to an extent, but it still justifies evil. When in fact, no evil, no murder is acceptable. No murder. No atrocity is morally acceptable. Now, with this, we are already at the end. I hope, as I said, that my fear will not come true, but I know Disney, and I feared this day would come when they will change Core of the Force. And maybe this day will be the 4th of June, where Star Wars will die. See you. May the Force be with you, now more than ever.